Jesus. I'm about to catch a fit. Oh, here's my Bible. I've been looking everywhere for this. Maybe if I opened it a little more, I might not be having a day like I'm having today. We'll see what's going on. Oh, man, work is terrible. Oh, man, who's calling me now? Can't people just leave me alone for just a minute? Figure out how to answer my phone. Nothing.
I was wondering what you're into tonight. We're having a Friday night service, and I know that you've been going through some things, so I'm just wondering if you'd like to come and be part of that.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. I had a real rough day. I almost had to drop kick somebody today, so, you know.
You know, it's all about getting closer to God and allowing God to come into your life and touch the places that you need to help the most in, and I really think you could benefit from being here. I just wish you a very blessed evening, and get back to me as soon as possible. All right. Bye.
All right. Well, I'll let you know for sure what's going on. I don't know that I'm gonna be able to make it. It's been a rough day, but I'll let you know. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Whew. Today was tough. Oh boy. Here you are again. Everywhere I try to go, you're here. No. I've had enough of you. Matter of fact, you just keep your mouth shut for just a minute, and you sit right here, because we're going to have a chat today. Sit down and shut your mouth. I've had about enough of you. I might sit down, I might not. It just depends on what's going on. I need to tell you a few things, because see, you've been bothering me since I can remember. Just because you think that you got an influence over me, you think you can talk to me, you think you can, all right, keep it up, keep going. You have hurt me in ways that I don't even understand. You'll hear me in just a minute. There has been things that you do, there is things that you lead me down, you are nothing. This is why I know, when I do go to church every now and then, I do listen. Keep laughing. Because I know that when I went to church, the other month, that the pastor was saying something about my flesh, and here you are, right here, my flesh, in my face once again, trying to get me to do things that I don't want to do. And the pastor said something about the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, whatever that means, because you're not weak, in my opinion. You're pretty strong. You keep me doing things that I don't want to do. You keep me acting ways I don't want to act, and going around and you cause me so much trouble. You're the one today that made me want to body slam that dude, because normally if I was just living my own life and being myself, I could have got through this day. But the flesh is so strong in my life. And I sit here and I look in the mirror and this is what I see, and I hate what I see in the mirror. I hate the road that you drove me down. I hate the places I've been. I hate the things that I've seen because of you. I wish that maybe when I was a little younger I could have gotten closer to God, and now I'm trying to do this later in life, and it's so hard because you have controlled me for so long. Now, sit down. I'm not done yet. You have no voice today. This is my show today. I knew last week when I was at church, even though I was only half paying attention, I knew that something that man was saying was directed at me. And it was because he knew I would have to face you. And I have faced you every day. Every day. I hope you're writing in your calendar, because this is about to be the last time we meet. I've had enough of you. You have done so many things. You brought me to so many places that I don't want to be. You're the reason that my life is what it is today. You're the reason. You dragged me around. You got me all over doing this and doing that and being with whatever. You tell me that all I need to do is just make you happy. Honor the flesh. Don't worry about what God says. Worry about what you say. Make you happy. Make you feel nice. Make you appreciated. Make you ignore what God says. And there's always a separation. Because if I'm focused on you, I'm separated from God. But if I focus on God, you start to lose your strength.
Yes.
You start to lose your power. You can snicker and laugh and make faces all you want, but the minute that I get closer to God is the minute that I'm walking away from you. And I've had enough of everything that you say. I've staying connected to you. I've had enough of being tortured by you. I've made it through so much of my life despite you, not because of you. All you've done is hurt. You've hurt me, but even more, you've caused me to hurt the people that I'm close to. You caused me to get in the fights that I've been in. You caused me to hurt the people that I hurt, to walk away from the people that love me. It's not because I wanted to, it's because you said go. And I went. I've always listened to you. I've always heard you louder than I've heard God or friends or family or anybody who's tried to tell me something better. You've always been the voice. You've always been the one. And I've had enough of it. I want to sit down and have a nice conversation, man, but I can't with you right now. You've been too hurtful to me. You've caused too much pain in my life. You're the reason that I've walked through the failures I've walked through. You're the reason that I've seen the hurts that I've seen. You keep telling me and filling my head with all this nonsense like it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. God ain't going to care. God's okay with whatever you do. You just feed me. It's okay.
Father.
But you've been lying to me. From the very first time we started talking, you've been lying to me. You've been telling me, I don't need this, I need this, and I follow that path. I go that way. Then I find myself addicted to something that I was never supposed to be in, but you said it would make you feel good, so I did it. You got me running around all over town finding any kind of person that I could be with. Oh yeah, but it's all good. You know, it doesn't matter who it is. Just get with anybody. God don't care. You know? Get with all the ladies over here. And if that gets boring, get with the fellas over here. It doesn't matter. God's cool with whatever. Everything that you do is only for your pleasure. None of it matters to me. You don't care about what I am. You don't care. And I'm the one that you are here because of me. God created me in a fallen world, and because of a fallen world, I have a fallen flesh to deal with.
Yes.
I have a flesh that wants to pull me away. I have a flesh that wants to stand in between me and God, separating us. Well, today there's another separation that's going to happen. Today is the day that me and you end our relationship. I can't do this with you no more. You know how many people I hurt because of you? Oh no, my mother, my family, relationships that I've destroyed because of you. Because you was all in my mind saying, oh no, they didn't just talk to you. And I listened to you instead of listening to them. And I got in trouble because I was following your lead. And over and over again, over and over again, over and over again. Do what I say. Do what I say. Walk where I lead you. Go where I show you. Do what I need you to do. This is what you do. This is what I need you to do. Shut up. No, you still, no, nothing. Quiet down, pipe down, hush your mouth, you get nothing. Let me tell you a couple of the things that I've learned from you. Okay, and you tell me, maybe, if I let you talk, which is not likely because I've had enough. I've had it up to here. If old 7-foot Gabe was here, I'd show you how high I had it up to. Okay? You teach me things that I should have never walked in. You do things to me that I should never follow. And I can't fight you because you're a part of me. And every time I go and I get in the morning and I say, I'm going to have a great day, and I look myself in the mirror and I say, you can do this, you're the man, you can do it, you can make this happen, be positive. All I see is you staring back at me with that goofy face. I sure hope that's not really what my beard looks like. And it's all because I listened at the wrong thing. This is, somebody got me this Bible. Somebody bought this from you as a gift. You know why? Because they said, oh, he's coming to church now. Maybe he's going to leave that life that he's been trapped in. Oh, he's coming to church now. Maybe we can talk to him. Maybe we can get a little closer to him. And so they got me this Bible. And I've been reading it every now and then. Sometimes I pick it up. Usually when you're at your worst is when I pick it up. When you're kind of back down, I tend to just kind of leave it to the side. Because I don't feel like I need it so much then. That's how I justify it. I feel like maybe, I need it more when you're at your most effective. So that's when I need to get into this Bible so much more. But when you're more calm and I don't really see you and hear you and feel you as much as I normally do, I kind of just let it sit. Because that's what I think. I think that the Bible is there for when you need it, not for all the time. But they got me this Bible. And it's cool. It's easy to read. It gives you little like discussions and stuff about what it means. Oh, you don't like that? So you mean all this time I've been giving you all this space and all this room and all this credit, and this one thing will keep you away from me? Oh, you want to laugh? Oh, it's like kryptonite. So you don't like this? How do you feel if I open it? No? Maybe I should read it a little more. Let's see. Let me see. Let's see. Let me flip through here and see if I can find something that you like. You want me to find something that you like? How about crucify the flesh daily? No? How about if you want to be Jesus' disciple, to pick up your cross and follow him? You know what the cross is for? It's for killing you. Yeah, you. But I let you win so much. And I make myself weak because of who you are in my life. And every time I think I'm going to stand up and defend myself, this is what happens. I look you eyeball to eyeball, and I see your stupid smile, and I see everything that you do in my life, and I don't pick this up, and I try to fight you in my own power, and every time you win. Let me tell you some of the things that you taught me. You taught me how to be afraid. You taught me that I should be afraid of everything. That maybe one day the people that I love the most are going to leave, and I should fear that, so I should just walk lightly around all of them so that I don't hurt them. And I should be afraid because that one day they're going to realize who I am and the failures that I am and the failures that I have. And one day they're going to leave, so I should be afraid. You taught me that one day I'm going to die, and so I should just live my life to the fullest and not worry about the things that God says, but make myself happy, because when I die, I don't want to look back and be ashamed that I didn't do more. And so you make me fearful of missing out on things, and I do things that I never would do because you have me afraid to miss out. Yeah. But you know what else I learned in this? Your favorite book? I learned the other day in church, I say the other day, it was probably like the last time I went, so maybe Easter, but they was talking about how Jesus died and was resurrected for me. And they was talking about all that, and they said that God didn't give me a spirit of fear. And the more I think about that, the more I think my spirit of fear didn't come from God. It came from you.
Yes.
And I allowed it to come into my life.
Yes.
I let you bring it in. I opened the door and welcomed you right in. Sit down. Bring your fear with you. And now I'm crippled at the thought that maybe something will go wrong. Maybe I will miss out on something. Maybe somebody will leave. Maybe my life will be a failure. Maybe. And all the fear that I deal with is because of you. But God did not give me a spirit of fear. That is something that you gave me, and I'm here today to take it back. You have no power no more.
Amen.
You know what else I learned about fear?
Yes.
It's kind of funny and silly and ironic, maybe, but that's what some of the people say, is that it's ironic. But then the more hardcore church people say nothing in the Bible is ironic, that God put everything in there for a purpose. And they told me that the Bible says it says something about not fearing, not being afraid. Do not fear. God is with you. Do not fear. No, the Lord is with you. Don't you fear not. All that stuff. 365 times. And I was like, wow, that's a lot. But then they said, that's one for every day. And so if I recite one to myself every day, and I go home and I make myself a printout of all the 365 things that God says not to be afraid every day, and every morning before I go to work, I look at that printout on my desk and I say, do not be afraid, the Lord is with you. Then maybe, just maybe, you will lose your hold on me. Maybe. Because God supersedes the flesh.
Amen.
It should say, I know that God's way is perfect, and I know what it means when it says the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. It means my flesh is too weak to control and to do what God wants me to do because my flesh is so weak. But sometimes I see you as too strong. It's not that you're weak, it's that you're too strong for me to fight. And I lose that battle. And I'm not no punk, but I still lose the battle. Because if I'm me, and you're the flesh, you're me also. So if I'm tough, you're just as tough, maybe tougher. And it's only by the help of God, by Jesus, by all the things that these folks teach me at church that I can beat you. It's only by God that I can win. It's only through God that I can realize I don't have to be afraid no more. I don't have to worry no more. You taught me other things. You taught me doubt. It's not just fear. You taught me doubt. You taught me that if I just question everything. You taught me that if you can't see something, and you can't hear something, and you can't taste something, that it's probably not real, and I should just doubt its very existence. And so I lived most of my life wondering if God is even real. Because if God was real, why would He let you be so effective in my life? And that's what you taught me. And you taught me that I should just only pick this book up when I'm nervous or when I'm upset or when you're winning. Because I doubt the very power inside of it because of the way I've always been. Not realizing that you're the puppet master up there controlling everything I do. So I'm afraid and I'm doubtful, not because of me, but because of you. I'm starting to put all this stuff together inside that when God says, when Jesus says, if I want to be a disciple, I have to carry my cross. I have to put you down. I can't let you be effective in my life if I want to serve God. I can't let you lead me down the road you've led me down if I want to serve God. I can't just go to church when I feel like it. I understand now that church is more than just getting together and seeing what somebody's wearing or hearing some sort of message that gets me momentarily excited and then I leave and I go back to my normal life. Church is something that I get filled up with on Sunday morning or Saturday night or whenever I go to church because it's not just to fill me up. It's to fill me up to fight you. Because without being filled up, you will win every time. I think that the doubt that you taught me is the same doubt that you taught Eve in the garden. I don't think that this is a new thing for you. I think this is something that you've been doing since the very beginning of time. When God created man in His likeness and it was perfect. See, I do listen sometimes at church. And God created everything perfect. And then that trickster, the serpent, Satan, the devil, the things that you've convinced all these other preachers not to talk about in church, you've convinced them that if you've put the fear in them, that if they talk about Satan or they talk about hell or they talk about fear, all that stuff will make people leave. And we're so afraid that the church won't be filled up and that somebody will leave, so we don't do it no more. You are the one that leads so many shows in this country. But I found me a church that doesn't listen to that. And when I go to the church, they make me feel so good. And they show me that when God created everything perfect, the serpent came in. And even though they were created in perfection, they still had flesh. They still had you. And you're the same one that when the serpent started talking to Eve, and the serpent said, "Did God really say?" I don't think the serpent was necessarily talking to Eve. I think the serpent was talking to you. And I think you were talking to Eve. And you convinced her to eat. And you convinced her to give it to Adam. And you convinced Adam to take it because it's okay. And the same way you've been telling people all the way back there, it's okay. God understands. God wants you to have what you want. God doesn't mind. You can do a little bit of this. You can do a little bit of that. You can go over here. You can go hang out at the club all night long until you're so drunk you got to call somebody to take you home, and you puke in their back seat, and you get out of the car and you try to work. I know what it's like. I've been there, and it's because of you. One day you had me sitting, laying outside somebody's apartment building in the cold. I didn't feel the cold because I was so intoxicated that because I was told that just make myself feel good. Don't worry about none of that. And so I listened to you, and I got so intoxicated that I found myself laying out front of somebody's apartment building, laying down on my side, so when I got sick, I wouldn't be laying in it, and I just laid there and slept outside all night in my own filth, in my own shame, in my own disgust, because you told me it's okay. Because you made me doubt. You made me doubt that God really cares. You made me doubt that God is really active in my life. You have made me doubt so much. It's not just fear, it's not just doubt. There's so much stuff that you've done in my life. Those are probably the biggest two that I deal with. When I want to go and see somebody, or I want to go and do something, I want to go and make a change, I want to make myself better, I can't because you have such a hold on me. And I go to church, man, and I sit in the front row, and I listen so closely at what the pastor says, or the evangelist, or the teacher, or whatever, if it's a Bible study. And I listen so close, and I love being there. And I love hearing what they're saying because it teaches me so much. And then you just sit right next to me and you tell me, don't listen to that. You shouldn't be sitting so close. You shouldn't be sitting so close. So I move, and I come sit maybe a row back. And then you tell me that's still too close, man. But I like Kenny, so I want to sit by Kenny. But you convinced me that Kenny really doesn't care. Kenny doesn't care, so you tell me to move to the back. So I do. Because you're so much more powerful than I am. And so I come sit back here. But even that's not good enough for you. Go to the back row, he says. That's what he tells me, Sean. Go to the back row. Sit back there. Nobody wants to see you. Nobody wants to hear you. If you sit in the back row, you can slip out real quick and nobody will even know you came. And I want to sit back here and worship, and I want to sing, and I want to honor God, but you have me afraid to do that, because if I lift up my hands, or I say something, or I worship, or I say amen, or I say something while the pastor's preaching, then you got me thinking that everybody is going to look at me, and everybody's going to laugh at me, and everybody's going to make fun of me. And so then you convince me not even to walk through the door. You know how many times you've had me sitting in the parking lot, believing that if I came inside the church, people would laugh at me? People from my old life, people from the life that I used to live would laugh at me, and they would say, oh, you better keep going to church, you better keep going to church, because you ain't got nothing out here for us. And they would just laugh at me, and they would make fun of me because of what I used to do and what I used to be. And now, for some reason, I can't be that no more, because I feel so convicted if I try to be what I was, but I can't come to church and be this either because of you. God convicts me of the things that I do, and then I try to change it, and I go to church, and then you sit here at church right next to me, and you say, don't worry about that. You don't have to listen to that. Oh, don't worry. God understands. God understands. It's all good. God understands. You know, God understands. God understands. He wants you to be happy. He wants you to feel good. All the things that God talks about, sex before you're married, and addiction, and drugs, and alcohol, and all the stuff that God talks about, it's all just Old Testament stuff. You're a part of the New Covenant now, and these are the things that you tell me. And I know it's just me and you here having this discussion. But I bet you that if I could ask some of the other people that come to church with me, I bet you they don't really like you that much either. See, for me, it's hard to feel like somebody doesn't like me because I want to be liked. That's the way that people go. That's why we want to see how many followers we have on social media, or we want something to go viral so everybody can see us, and we sit there and we play and we do whatever we can to try to get attention from so many people because we want to be liked. That's right. No, I noticed that you ain't trying to talk no more. You better keep your mouth shut, pipe down. No, put it back. I don't want to hear from you. These are the things that go on in my head. And I know right now it's kind of silly and you might not think that but this is very good for me. This is something that I needed to say for a long time. So you can sit over there and mock and do what you want to do, but you don't understand the fact that this is really helping me. This is really making me feel good. I needed to get some stuff off my chest, and you're allowing me to do that right now. And you're not so much allowing me because I'm in control. I'm always in control. You've just taught me that I'm not. You've taught me that I have to listen to what you say, that I have to do what you say, that I have to go where you lead me. I have to dress how you dress. I have to wear what you wear and look how you look and talk how you talk and act how you act. You've taught me that. But there's another rule that I've overlooked, and that's the rule that says I was made in God's image, not yours. And if you're my flesh and you're a part of me, I hate to tell you, homie, but you were made in God's image too. You have just been allowed to run free for so long that people let you in. But if we can control what you are and what you do, and we can actually live the Bible and not just, it's so much more than just going to church. And I'm glad that I'm having this conversation with you because I just got a phone call. I don't know if you heard it when you were breaking and entering into my residence, but I just got a phone call and I was invited to church tonight. I was invited and I wasn't going to go. I'm going to be honest. I wasn't going to go because I've had a bad day. It's been rough. Keep trying to talk. I'm going to duct tape you. I've had a rough day. And I'm up to here. And I'm about to take all the people that I've had an issue with all day, and I'm about to let it go on you. Because you've taught me that that's the right way to do things. So when I've had a rough day, and I go home, and my wife says something negative to me, what do? I blow up on her. Why? Because you told me to. You said, don't take that. You can't say it to them because you'll lose your job. You can't say it out there in the street because you'll get arrested. You can't say it. So you got to blow up on the people you're close to. And you caused me to kill relationships. Because I let you win every day of my life. Every day. Fear, doubt. But you've taught me other things too. You've taught me pain. You've taught me what it means to hurt. What it means to find myself alone in a room, in the dark, and just sit there and just kind of wonder if anybody cares about my pain. If anybody cares that I hurt. You've had me wondering all these different things and wondering, should I even keep going? Should I even keep going? You've had the pain so effective in my life that I thought the only way out was a bullet to myself. And it's not that I want to hurt myself, but I want to hurt you. And the only way I can hurt you, so I thought, was to hurt myself. And so I find myself in the room with a razor cutting my arm. And then I think, why am I doing this? This is not something I've ever done before. And I realized just the other day that I'm not doing it because I want to. I'm doing it because you want me to. I'm doing it because you've told me that the pain is so real. That, yeah, I blow up on my wife and I'm about to end up in divorce court for the 4th time. My first 3 marriages, all me, my fault. And if I had controlled myself better, it wouldn't have been that way. And so you take all the pain from my previous life and you throw it on me all at once, and you make me feel like everything is on me. The reason that my mother and father acted the way they did was because of me. The reason that my siblings didn't like me is because of me. The reason that I failed in school is because of me. Everything in my life is because of me, but it's because of you. Let you win too long. And I know what it's like to sit alone in my own room and just cry and cry and cry and cry until I fall asleep and then wake up crying again because of you. You showed me pain. And you made me embrace the pain. I couldn't fight the pain. I just get my keys and I drive. And I drive and drive and drive and drive and drive. And I see somebody that I know, and I got to walk up to him, and I got to go, "What's up, man?" Like everything's good. It's not good. But I don't tell you that. Because I will deal with my own struggles my own way. I can't let you into what he's doing to me. Because I have to be strong. I have to be tough. And you taught me that pain is weakness. That emotion is weakness. You taught me that. But you know what I learned? Again in this book? I was reading and I was real fascinated with Revelation, and so I was reading it. And then I realized as I was reading it that I didn't understand none of it. Like you got to get a book to read the book with Revelation when you're studying it so you can kind of understand what the book says and then kind of make it all work somehow in your mind. But I was realizing that I could. But there was one passage that I read that I understood real good. Can I read it to you? You don't have a choice. It's chapter 7. You don't get a choice. Chapter 7. And it's down by verse 17. Don't worry, I won't come too close. I just want to make sure you hear it. For the Lamb. You know the Lamb. Jesus. Take up your cross. Kill the flesh. The Lamb who is in the midst. What does that mean? Oh, it means the middle. So you're trying to take the place of God in my life. You're trying to be the center of my world. You're trying to be the center of my universe. You're trying to be the thing that controls everything. But it's really Jesus who's supposed to be in the midst, in the center. But in this passage right here, he's the Lamb who's in the midst of the throne. And it says he will shepherd them. And I've been lost long enough, and I need somebody to shepherd me. And you've been a terrible shepherd. And he'll lead them to living fountains of water. See, that's one of the things, like, I'm still new to this, so I don't really understand what that means. But this part, you ready for this part? This is the game changer. I'm going to come over here because you might freak out. And God will wipe every tear from their eyes. So the pain that you've caused, the pain that you brought on my life, the tears that I've cried, the near suicidal thoughts that I've had, God will wipe them all away. But yet I still find myself listening to you. No! There's one more thing that you need to know. You've taught me how to be hopeless. You've taught me that there's no future. You've taught me that I need to find my hope in other places. And you've brought me to some real shady places to find my hope. And boy, I went in there too. And I found all kinds of stuff that wasn't hopeful. And I got myself addicted to all different kinds of things. All to try to deal with the pain and the fear and the doubt that you've caused. And now I'm hopeless because I have no way out. But you tell me, I bet you if you smoke a little bit of this, or you drink a little bit of that, or you go out with your friends to the bar, the club, whatever, and you spend all your time there, that they'll make you laugh and you'll drink enough that you'll forget your problems. And they'll be like, oh yeah, let's go, let's have fun, let's hang out. And so you've got me convinced that because I'm so hopeless, the only way I can find hope is to do this stuff on my own. That there is no hope with Jesus. There is no hope with God. The only thing that will give me hope is not the pastor, it's not the church, it's not the friendships that I could make. It's not the fact that when I get myself around a body of people who believe in God and who live like that they would be able to come and stand me up and say, I know you're going through a rough time. I know you're struggling. I know your life seems like it's falling apart, but God has a way out for you because God won't lead you into something that He won't lead you out of. And so God has a way out. And then they sit there and they pick me up. And then you tell me they don't really care. They don't really care. They're not interested. They don't care. You know? They just want you to think they care. That's why they sit there like they sit there. And they sit there all quiet. And they don't really say much. And they just sit down and watch the church show. And you're just one of them. You just sit down and blend in with the faces and watch the show. And you've got me thinking that the only thing I can do is make a name for myself. That God can't do it for me. And you keep me away from church. And you keep me away from God. And you say, go out there and do it yourself. So I did. And I was good. I did. But you know what that got me? More pain. And more fear and more doubt, because I had to go to the funerals and I had to sit there while my friends are being buried and they're in the casket and mama's crying and everybody else is crying, and I have to sit there and look at them die inside because somebody followed you instead of following God. I've been to those funerals. Yep. Yeah, I've been there. I've been to those funerals. And then I've been to the funerals where maybe it was something that I did that caused somebody to die. Now, maybe it wasn't me directly. I didn't take them out. But something I did put them in the position. And not only do I have to see Mama cry, and Daddy cry, and everybody else cry, I had to sit there and realize that it was my fault that everybody was there. And I had to sit here and wonder, if I had done something a little different, would I be walking up to the casket right now to hug Mama? Would I be doing what I'm doing right now if I had led somebody a little different? If I had been peace to somebody? If I had gotten out of this crazy life that you brought me into? Would I be dealing with it? Would I be going through this? Would I be dealing with it? But you are the one who has controlled me for so long, but it stops today. This relationship is over. It's done. You have no more power. You have no more authority. You keep me away from the hope of God because you want me hopeless. And I know now that if I can just get closer to God, my hope would be restored and you would be ineffective. So you hold me close, because if I'm close to you, I'm far from God. But today, there's a separation. Today, we end it. I'm glad that you've been here. I'm glad that you've walked me through what I've been through, because it's because of you that now I see and now I can focus on the fact that there's so much more. There's so much greater. And God can use me now because I'm getting away from you. God can tell me to go and talk to somebody else because I'm getting away from you. Once I realize that I can break the chains, that I can break the bondage with the power of Jesus, I can go out and tell everybody else about the power of God and that you're not effective no more. So you can sit here all you want. Matter of fact, why don't you sit here? Because I'm not going to take this no more. I'm not going to sit here and do this with you no more. I was invited to church and I'm going to go to church. So you sit there.
amazing to know that when we are weak, He is strong. That it doesn't matter what we face, that we don't have to live in that flesh. That we have the answers, that we have something that we can turn to this word and we can rebuild ourselves. And we can say no. We can say no to the flesh. We don't have to continue to allow the flesh to eat us and just eat away at us. Because you know what I find so much more than not is that we buy into the lie that Satan is selling us. That this will make us happy or that will make us happy.
Amen. And
all we're doing is hurting ourselves. You know, so many times people say, you know, oh, you go to church, so you can't do this. No, it's I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Amen.
Because you see, the Word of God is established so that we can have hope and we can have peace. And God gives us guidelines not because He wants to be mean or He doesn't want us to have fun. It's because He wants us to be happy and free. He knows that those things are going to bound us, and He wants us to be free.
Our relationship is over.
Yes.
We're done here. You got no control over me, no more.
I would like anyone that wants to come get free, that wants to allow that flesh to just die today, to come up.
I do. That's me. That's me. I want to pray. Let's pray together, and then just remain right here for just a minute, and then we're going to pray. I'll pray for you individually, but Father, I pray right now that as we come to you, God, as we fight this battle, as we fight our flesh, as we fight the enemy that is far too strong for us, I pray, God, that you would be in the middle of our battle, that you would fight for us, that you would fight with us. God, that we can find the Spirit of God that would defend us against the flesh, that would defend us against the attacks of the enemy, and that we would walk in your Spirit and walk in your truth and walk in your wisdom and knowledge every single day. God, it's a tough road that we walk. It's a tough fight that we face. We're in a fallen world. And I pray that in a fallen world we would find a victorious King to fight with us, to fight for us. So, Father, I pray right now, not just for me, not just for the people that are here, not just for the people in the room, but God, that you would cover every single person that would call on your name. There's so many issues that are represented in this church, at this altar area, in our lives, God, and I pray that you would fight, that you would remove the flesh, that you would do what only you can do, and that we would crucify ourselves to live in your kingdom and in your glory and in your righteousness each day. God, I thank you, and I just ask you to continue to speak to us, continue to minister to us, continue to let us hear your word. Would you guys just sit down right? You can sit right in the front row for just a minute. I just want to say a couple things, and then we're going to I'll pray again. I don't want you to go too far because we're going to pray. I want to read you guys something. I know it was a little different than normal. I know it wasn't the same format that you're used to, and trust me, that was really hard for me. It was way outside of anything I'm comfortable with, so I hope it helped you in some kind of way, but I want to read to you something. I was praying and I was thinking, it's been like 2 weeks ago, but I didn't have the time to do it right the way I wanted to do it. And so I waited until I could really focus on what God wanted to say. And what God was saying to me is that He wanted people to see the struggle, the everyday struggle that we face. Now maybe you sat here and you watched this and you thought at one point, I can relate to that. That's my struggle. That's what I walk in every day. Maybe it was the part where I felt like I needed to punch somebody in the face. Maybe that's your struggle. I get it. I get it. Maybe it was the part where you didn't realize that your flesh is controlling you. But you do now. We have a very real enemy that we have to face. I want to read to you something, and then I'm going to just give you a couple thoughts, and I'm going to pray for these folks. And if you want to pray, then come up front, because I want to pray for you too. I don't care if it takes us till 7 o'clock tonight to make sure everybody's prayed for and everybody can leave here happy. It doesn't matter to me. I want you to leave here differently than you came in, and I don't care what it costs to make that happen. I'm willing to give everything I can for you to be free from any issues that you face. I'm going to read to you 1 John chapter 2, verse 15, 16, and 17. If you have your Bible, you can look at it. It's not up there. If you want to write it down and read it later, you can. If you want to ask me what it is after church, I'll give it to you then. It says, do not love the world or the things in the world. What's the things in the world? The things in the world is the things that we are tempted with every day. The relationships that we're tempted with. The places that we're tempted to go, the addictions that we're tempted with. Do not love the world. But then the next sentence is a little bit, it's really real if you want to put it to action. For if anyone loves the world, if anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in them. That's tough. He didn't say that if you struggle. That if you love the world, if you give yourself to the ways of the world, if you give yourself to being what everybody else wants you to be, if you give yourself to a mindset of defeat, if you give yourself to addiction, if you give yourself to relationships, if you give yourself to anger or hatred or pain, if you give yourself to doubt, the things that we talked about earlier, if you give yourself to that, if you give yourself to the ways of the world, if anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. That's tough because God is love. So it's telling you that if you live according to the world, the love of God has left. It's not there for you. But if you turn around, that's the good news of the gospel. If you go back to Jesus, if you return to the one who died for you, the one who gave his life for you, if you give yourself back. But it goes on and it says, for all that is in the world, this is why the love of the Father is not in them. For all that is in the world, everything that you'll find in the world is the lust of the flesh. The lust of the flesh. I'm thankful for Pastor Josh for being in the flesh, because it's probably not easy to sit there and have somebody yell at you for 40 minutes, but he did it, and so I'm thankful for that. But it was an object lesson to show you, you face the same thing. When you look in the mirror, you're not just looking at you, you're looking at somebody who is dying and somebody who is trying to take you with them. Your flesh is dying the minute you are born, you start to die. The only thing that keeps you from death is the Savior who can give you eternal life. The lust of the flesh, what makes you feel good. The lust of the eyes, what looks good. Probably the biggest one for most people, the pride of life. What makes you feel good? What makes you think that you're above? What makes you think that you're so much better? I might not be what I used to be, but thank God I'm not like them no more. The pride of life. Pride comes before your fall. And I don't want to see anybody fall. And let me tell you another secret. God doesn't want to see you fall either. In fact, He wants to see you stand so tall that He's willing to hold you up. 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 That when you're walking and your life is too much and you start to fall, God says, hold on, I know it's tough, but let's just keep walking. If we need to take a break, we can take a break. But your destiny is over here. You know the stuff that you've been doing? You know the stuff that you've been taking that I've overlooked for so long? I'm not going to overlook it forever. It's getting to be a little too much for you right now, but just hold it. Let's take a break. Let's take a break. Are you good? Let's keep walking. And we keep walking and we keep walking and we keep walking. Oh, but you're stumbling. No, hold on. And God watches you. And you can lie to the pastor. And you can lie to the church, and you can lie to your friends, and you can lie to your family, but you can't lie to God.
That's right. Come on.
So when you come to church and somebody says, how are you doing? And you say, I'm doing good. The whole time you're down on your knees, falling because you don't have God to stand there and say, stand up straight.
Yes.
Even if you don't walk forward, just don't go backwards.
That's right.
The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life, the things that make you realize that you're so much better than everybody else. God wants to hold you strong so that when you fall, you're about to break my arm with your bicep, so that when you fall, He's right there to pick you back up. Thank you. I thought, God said to me, I want you to have your brother dress up since you look so much alike. I want you to have your brother dress like you, be your twin, and he's going to be your flesh, and you're going to show people the struggle. Some of that was my struggle, some of it wasn't. But I really did sleep outside of somebody's apartment, vomiting all night because of what I did that day. I really have slept in somebody's backyard and used a grapefruit as a pillow because in Florida grapefruits are everywhere. I really have slept on people's back porch without them knowing it because I just needed a place to rest for the night. So some of the stuff is my struggle, but some of it's not. I've never been to a bar. I've been to like one club. So maybe some of it is for somebody else. The hardest part of today is not so much that it's out of my comfort zone. It's not so much that I'm not an actor. It's not so much any of that. The hardest part of today is realizing that people will leave and they will let their flesh go with them.
Yes.
The hardest part of today is thinking that somebody will leave the same way they came in. So we're going to pray, and if you came up to pray, I want you to come back up. We're going to pray for real this time, and I want you to come back up. And if you didn't pray, if you didn't come up, then by all means stay there. If you need to be dismissed, just understand you're loved. We'll talk to you as soon as we can. If you want to go out there and wait, you can do that, whatever the case may be. But if you're going to be in here, would you just help us pray? Would you help us understand that these people are people who are reaching out for God? They need a touch from God, and so we want to pray with them.